Oh, greetings. This is Grandmaster Amira. Today I'm coming to you from my lovely partner's place of work. So I don't know how this is going to really work out. Today, question. Hi out there. Uh, are we seeing fewer blacks than we've seen 5 years ago? Now, of course, I'm here in Mombasa, Kenya, and I've been here for 21 years. I have not been back to the United States. But before I left in 1996, I saw an increasing number of Hispanics joining my martial art club and fewer fewer blacks. Now, this was in 1996. So uh, I wonder, and as I've been told, are blacks decreasing in number in the United States? I'm saying in the major cities like Harlem, like in Detroit, like in Chicago, like in Los Angeles, where I'm from. Okay, you can send me the link to the prison. Okay, I was asking you what that prison progression chart was about. One of the good things about this channel is that we're still young, and I can answer every question that I can see on the chat line. But today, as I hope you guys can hear me, uh, I wanted to uh, kind of get some feedback on, you know, where you live. If you've lived there for more than 5 years, have you seen an increase in African Americans, or have you seen a decrease in the population? Because uh, what I'm getting from my Google research is that uh, there is a decrease, and now people are talking about there's a definite uh, sign of the population not growing, and this has serious ramifications, uh, to the future of black people in the United States. So I did some research, and it says that the black uh, population growth rate is 1.2%. The population growth for the United States overall is 0.7%. And this is something that can be very scary, as especially as we go into this area of recession. Now, I would like to believe that the brothers and sisters are moving out of the country, and that's why you see such a you know. But it is a fact that it is a fact that we uh, are not becoming conscious at a rate that is, really needed for us to make the obvious decision that when you're in a society that tells you that it's not going to be able to support you in the next generation, then a situation where you have to do what's best for your offspring. You have to do what's best for your children, because you're going to get old, and when you get old, I don't think anybody really wants to be stuck somewhere where they're stuck in an old folks home and they have no real family to come visit them. And this is America's idea of what to do with their elders. So we need to uh, look at this trend that is happening, where the black man and the black woman are fighting each other. We're separate. 70% of households are run by women. So you would say that many of those households are, you know, having a single parent. And so when one parent is with the kids, what's the other parent doing? Now, like a lot of black men, if you have a failed relationship with one woman, you may end up finding yourself with another woman. She may get pregnant, and then you try and start a second family. And if that doesn't go right, then you might find yourself having two separate broken families, and then you know it, the government gets involved and then starts demanding that you pay for kids that you don't even have a family. You say, look, you're just like paying for kids upkeep, but you don't have the benefit of being a close knit family. And we're not taught this in school about relationships, male and female relations, which we should be, but we're not. And we're not, uh, also taught the basic uh, building blocks of economics also. And we're all definitely not taught about racism in school, so we fall into a trap in all these areas, and it's very easy for us to fall into a trap. Um, I want to say that like the educational trap is one of the killers, and one of the things that we black men can do, uh, that is always something you can do for yourself, is to continually to educate yourself and continue to get knowledge. Now, um, if you're a black man in this country of United States, you're going to feel a lot of times, like you're just, I don't know how to say it, put it in the word. Let me see how I can put it. You feel that you're just a victim, you know, like really, you really have to like uh, always defend yourself, you know, and it seems like, uh, you know, you've been watching how we're being portrayed on TV and how we're being portrayed in the news and how the police deal with us as a black man in America. It's becoming extremely tough, and then on top of that, you're not getting that support. And with the problem with the decline in the population, it becomes very serious and almost unbearable. So I think that we uh, should address it, in a show, and that's what I wanted to do. So those again, calling, coming to you from my wife's salon. She's let me see if I can flip this. Will it flip? It's her there doing someone's customer. So uh, yeah, so I think we need to really address this issue. And I don't want to make a long show here. They're just like getting rid of us. Now, I majored in criminal justice in college, so I'm very familiar with how the courts work and how police procedures work. And I can tell you that one of the ways they're getting us, which is many people are not really talking about, is this idea of plea bargaining. And it's a scenario that happens all too often where you're picked up for and arrested for a crime that you didn't commit. The police add on a few extra charges, and then someone comes to you and sells you on a plea bargain. It goes like uh, you had a fight with your girlfriend, and you had a baseball bat, and you didn't want to hit her with the baseball bat, so you beat the car. You beat your own car with the baseball bat. So the police come, are called, and they come in and they arrest you for willful endangerment of property. And you're yelling at the policeman saying, "That's my property." You see, that's not anybody's. I can do with it what I want. And the police will tell you, "No, you can't," which they may be lying to you. Now they take you into the jail, and then they write up charges that say with a deadly weapon and something else, you know. and they say concurrently you're gonna spend about 7 years or 10 years in jail when if these things go to court. But if you plea bargain for a lesser charge of disturbing the peace, we'll give you 3 months and you're out. So you say to yourself, should I go for the 3 months, or should I try to take? Because I don't feel like I'm guilty of. I didn't never swing the bat at the girl, so how can they charge me for attempted assault or whatever? And they plead with you, they give you some sad stories, and then if you finally you just because you don't have you may not can afford a lawyer, so you finally decide, okay, well, best I just take the deal, get this thing over with, and they give you a couple nights in jail or something like that, and then you just feel like, damn. So once you get into the prison system, then from there, that's when they can take all your rights from you. You can't vote, you can't get a passport, you can't do certain things, and then you have to they put you on a probation period, and then you have to report every like 2 weeks or every week, or depending on what it is. So you're like wrapped up in the justice system. They might give you 3 months in jail and 1 year probation, so they get to keep monitoring on you. And this is terrible. Let me read this bill. Without my glasses. It's a slow process. Yeah, genocide. Yeah, polygamy in Africa is the solution. Yeah, okay, Dollar Bill. I was hearing this thing about the polygamy, and if you come to Africa, most people don't practice polygamy here in the city, in the modern African city, in the urban areas. It's very heavily done in the upcountry. In fact, the Kenyans changed their constitution to allow multiple. You can have like up to four wives. No, that's Muslim. A natural Muslim, you can have four wives, but in the Constitution of Kenya, you can have more than one wife now. So it's built into the Constitution, and it's very much legal. So that's there. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, as far as for me, I'm really not seeing that amongst the people that I deal with. Now, maybe guys I know have more than one wife, and I know a lot of them have girlfriends. That's for sure. But uh, uh, having it where you structure it and have kids with both, that one is still kind of kept hidden in Kenya. What else? They are. I'm gonna increase the size of the font because I can't see this thing. And oh, that's not gonna help. Okay, I want to read your comments, but I can't see them. One more time. I'm using a small mini laptop today. Okay, so it says, what's up? I think it's Richard. They are putting us in jail uh, along with the abortion. Yeah, definitely. Abortion is also there. And, abortion kills more of us than any time. Uh, if we didn't have abortion in the black community, we would be like 3 times the number that we are today. But that's a terrible thing. Okay, I mean, they offered. Whoa, you guys are sending a lot of comments. The abortion on the married woman. I was so offended that oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a bad thing. Now, if I'll take my wife to the hospital, maybe and she's having a baby, and then they're gonna tell us that'd be bad. Now, one of the things that we have to do is try to get in a few words about this because I see already I'm touching some few nerves there. What I want to talk about at the moment, I'm coming to you from Mombasa, Kenya, where I've been here for 20 years, 21 years now, and I see. I've seen both sides of the spectrum. I've lived in Los Angeles for 30 years. I could tell you all about how it runs and how it works. And then I came to Kenya and I see how it runs and how it works. I have children in both. I had children in the U.S. I had a family in created a family in the U.S. Bought a home in the U.S. And I've done the same thing here. I've not bought a house in Kenya, but everything else I have done. Had a family, had kids. Now my daughter has just had my first grandson here in Kenya. But uh, that's why I'm saying I want to discuss about it really quick. That what the ramifications are of reduced population. One of the things that was sad for me was that when I left the United States, we were the second minority, and now since the 20 years later, now we're like the third minority, and Asians are catching up with us. Now, the first thing that happens when you have a population decrease uh, is in order for that to start, you have to have an erosion of the family. Uh, so we have this thing in the U.S. where we have the gender wars, and they're still going on, where black men and black women are really basically arguing with each other, and black women are saying that the guys are no good, they're drinkers, they're drug addicts, they can't find a good man amongst us, and brothers are saying, you know, the women are just very hard and very difficult to live with. And the court system uh, tends to always be on the woman's side. So this is a combination that destroys a man's family almost in a minute. I know personally because mine was destroyed, and I've seen many guys who have went through the same process. Like black men, we don't really want to talk about. Okay, I had a woman, I had kids with her, then we broke up, and then I don't ever talk about her again. And this is okay. This is a issue that continues to add to the statistic of the single parent household. Now, when you have a woman that is running a single parent family, she has boys, it becomes a real big struggle. Definitely, the cost of living is high. So, if she has more than one child, she's really got to work hard to make money to support that family, and she has to get help from the state, to get the man to contribute. And this is because the money is less. So as America starts to go down, we tend to uh, find ourselves in a serious financial serious financial crisis. Now, I think that uh, by discussing it, we can kind of just make our own selves aware of how serious this problem is. Because once you have the family separated or broken, this inevitably leads to the destruction of the community. Blacks tend to separate. Communities tend to be more rental than ownership of property, and then that's easy for gentrification to come in and take over. Now, this is what's going on in a lot of the black cities in the United States, and you're finding also that the immigration, the way other minorities are coming in larger numbers, Arabs and Asians are coming into the black neighborhoods, opening up businesses. Oh man, that motorcycle is a loud motorcycle, and this causes uh, you know uh, uh, communities to become more diverse, so that we don't have the ability to support each other as far as black businesses are concerned. Because, like I said, if you open up a black-owned business in a black neighborhood, because there's no more communities, black communities, uh, you would have to depend on the people in the area. And if the neighborhood is only 60% black, or if the neighborhood is only a percentage of black, and then you would have to depend on you know the other groups to frequent your business. Now, in order to get the business from these people that are not black, you have to cater to their needs. That's obvious. So uh, you really can't say establish a black-owned business for blacks. You have to say it's maybe a business. You see what I'm saying? That you're just trying to run, and you might find that it's really difficult to operate that business, or even get black people to frequent your business. If you have a good product or service that you're giving out, what happens tends to happen is that other people tend to come in and then undermine your business. They usually either open up a business similar, or they, you know, or somebody can even send someone in to ruin your business. There was a video I saw one time where the police came in and just put crack on the table. He was on, but he didn't know he was being videotaped by the surveillance camera. And they tried to arrest the a black guy you know, for having a store in that area. And this is a sad case because I'm sure they would get the black guy out and then replace him with somebody else that's not black. This is what they have done even in the in 200 years ago when they were lynching blacks. You see, time after time, when you see these pictures of black men being hung by a tree back in the 1920s and the 1800s, these many of these blacks were not just random farmers. When you look at the clothes that they have on, you can see there are some of them, many of them are in good suits, and they're being hung by the neck. And these suits are, and it wasn't that they were hanging the average field hand. No, they like those brothers. Those Negroes, and that's how they kept us economically declined back then, in a decline. Now, when you have situations where they found oil in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and blacks started trying to do oil deals with other countries to sell off the oil that's on their land, they came in and just wiped out the whole area. Like when they did in Philadelphia, they the trade unions, blacks started coming up from the south to the north for those jobs, and they were willing to work harder and for less money, and the whites had to create unions and then fight the blacks off so they couldn't get those, so blacks couldn't be get those good jobs. And every time after time after time, America has shown that when it comes down to economics, they don't play. They're not gonna give you a red cent, and that's what I try to tell ADOS people. If you just go back and look at history, you can see that they wouldn't. You dare. Now think about Martin Luther King. Think about Dr. Martin Luther King and what he said. He wasn't killed because because he said I have a dream. He was killed, according to Coretta Scott King, his wife, for a speech that he made 9 months before he was killed. And in that speech, he talked about there were two different Americas. There's one black, there's one white, and one is inherently unequal. Now, he was saying that he saw that it was impossible for the American dream to be there because blacks were being marginalized economically. And he said it was. He too also said it was a matter of the world court because he saw that when he investigated into what the situation is in America back in the '60s, and I mean he had to travel around and see this. He was saying that there was a systematic uh, attempt or a systematic way that blacks were being kept oppressed economically. So wherever you are today, my friends out there, you have to look at your situation. And then, even if you are in a situation that's okay, you have to remember a brother that has less than a sixth grade education, a brother that is not able to read or comprehend beyond a sixth grade level. It is extremely difficult, or damn near impossible, for him to become black conscious. You understand what I'm saying? He has the ability to read and comprehend the works and the books that are needed for him to get a full grasp of what is going on. Or he can watch a lot of police videos where the police are dropping guys on the street and beating them up and shooting blacks on the slide. He can watch those videos. He can get upset, but upset is not black consciousness. That's just anger. And black consciousness is you go beyond the anger step and you go to the part where you can understand. You see. So if you take a lot of our brothers, since we have a 50% dropout in high school, and education is poor, and a lot of our brothers, let's say even half of them that graduate can't read beyond the sixth grade, comprehend beyond sixth grade level. Here you see the seriousness of why blacks can't get up enough numbers to even come to Africa with an understanding that America is never going to help you. America is against you. In fact, they don't even believe you're an American. If you go, you can have a situation where a white person calls the police on a black person. Say that what say it's a white woman. She'll go that black guy. Those blacks. You know, and this is uh, what I'm talking about. They really don't see us as black as Americans, as their fellow Americans, because nowhere, like Dr. King said, nowhere did he see white people, coming in grouped together to set racist white people straight. Just keep quiet. Let me see these comments. BBJ, I'm at the channel. Support the channel with African. Yeah, support the channel with African Super Chat because I'm coming out here and giving you a lot of information. I'm calling here from my wife now. She's finished that when she's talking to a coworker here. Where is that? Yeah, she's finished that when she's talking to a coworker here. Where is that? Yeah, and and you're gonna get the full knowledge of what's going on in Africa. Now, let me tell you something about, and you guys super chat for this one now. African super chat. You guys super. Let me tell you what's happening on the ground in Kenya right now. A couple of days ago, the president of Kenya, Uhuru, waved off Kenya's first shipment of exported oil, and Kenya export. I like to say Kenya exported 200 barrels worth 1.2 billion shillings. Uh, it's a consignment that was bought by a Chinese oil firm, and they're saying that in about a year or two from now, it will be a full commercial production of selling oil. Now, Ghana has had oil the discovery since 1974, and they never have gotten beyond 200 barrels a day selling out oil. Kenya, on his first try, did 200 barrels. So he had 500. They say they have an estimate of 560 million barrels of oil in the Turkana area, and they say they can keep the country pumping oil for something like 800 barrels a day for 20 years if they don't discover more. And that's what happened in other countries. They start drilling and then they find more oil later. So Kenya is definitely on the right track as far as economy is concerned. And the fact that it's now an official oil exporting nation only increases the point I'm saying. And they didn't do it rushing to judgment. They did it in 7 years. They made a government had put a mining policy in that separates the revenue for the oil to all the different stakeholders, so that there wouldn't be none of that fighting and infighting that's going on in Nigeria. So Kenya, coming in late to the game, has had an opportunity to see and learn from other people's mistakes, and which culminated into the president waving off his first 200 barrel shipment of oil for the first time. Now, so I can give you this information because you won't see this in the mainstream news. You won't hear about that. And if you do hear it in the news, what the news likes to do is give you a pro side and then a negative con side. So they give you, okay, Kenya is producing oil, but they're not sure if they can do it. The pipeline won't be ready, and so that's such blah. So you're not you don't know. You can't even relish in the and be happy about it because the news gives you this negative side and to go with this positive side. But it's an actuality. It's like unfair because becoming a commercial exporter of oil is a very big thing, you know. But the news want to tell you, okay, the two locals were unhappy, you know, for whatever reason. You know, they want to block the trucks, but this is just minor things, you know. But unfortunately, when they give the negative side of Africa, it makes blacks in the United States hold back from coming. You see, and they were talking about, you know, the Chinese are going to take over Africa, and I was like, you know, they have even wrote you know, propaganda articles saying that 70% of Kenya's debt was owned by China, which was a lie. That was bilateral trade debt. So which means Africa, I mean Kenya gives 70%, brings in 70% of their goods from China, but only gives out 30%. That's what bilateral trade means. But if your actual trade deficit or how much you debt you have for a country, Kenya's entire debt, China only owns 21% of that debt. You know, not 70% that they were trying to make people believe. Now, keep it in comparison. China owns 27% of America's debt. Yeah. So when these people start talking about the Chinese going to take over, please, and let's not forget that America is the number one debtor with 100 trillions of dollars that they owe. The world's debt. Let's put it in perspective. In the world's debt, of all the debt in the world, America owns 45% of the debt. It's the most indebted country in the world. 40, almost half the complete debt in the world is owned by the United States. And, and countries are becoming weary that America will not be able to pay the interest on their debt. And this affects us as black people because we are already at the bottom of the totem pole economically. And I know there's a lot of brothers out there suffering, not like you're suffering and you can't eat or nothing like that, but I mean, you keep having to come up with all these ingenious ways. You think they're ingenious ways to make money to be able to survive in the United States and take care of your family. But keep in mind, 50% black people lost their homes during the recession. So, you know, that was kept under the wraps, that was kept quiet. And like what economists are saying, including Ron Paul today, he was asked, "Is there America going into another recession?" And he said, "It's most definitely." And then he even said that we're already starting to see the signs of the recession with the stock market volatility and things like that, and the China trade agreement wars going on in China. So, what are we doing as Black people? Our populations in America is decreasing. Our relationships with our women are fondling and having lots of problems. A lot of it is based on money, obviously, and uh, you know, we're just struggling and dealing with getting into jobs that really we don't really want, or we don't, you know, that really don't pay us enough money, and so we end up having to take two jobs. So you really like working two jobs just to get the bills paid, and where you have no time for anything else. You know, it's work and sleep, and this is where they have us. That's like a slave, you know. At least in Africa, you know, I have lots of time I can take. I really don't take a lot of time, but it's lots of time I can take to, you know, go hang out with the family or, you know, do other projects. Uh, so yeah, it's like that. So what's that piece? I'm about, okay. What's up, Kofi? What's happening? I see you. I see you. I see. Who's this one? Okay. Um, yeah. So I want to give you all this information, and I was on the Dinah Show a couple of days ago, and oh, by the way, it's got more views than most of his shows since he came back from Nigeria. People really wanted to hear the information, and uh, we discussed about uh, another show that he had did where the guy came on and was talking about polygamy, and I was saying, I'm saying like, uh, we are doing things ass backwards. Basically, we should be thinking family first before we start even thinking about economics. In fact, if you start thinking about getting a good partner, that should be a number one priority based on what nature tells us to do. Get a good partner and then create a family. This thing of money will start to work itself out because if you have kids, you're not gonna let them starve. You're going to be motivated to go out and find work, and you will find it if you were in Kenya. Yeah, there's too many opportunities that's out there if you're really serious about looking for to make money. Likewise, those brothers that are out there that are like me, they're in their late 60s or they're on welfare, not welfare, but Social Security. Yeah, definitely, this would be the place for you. And I have several brothers that have come here. If you're living in like a one room place with based off your Social Security money, and you're living in a cold ass climate, volatile weather in America, then you come and you'll see that you would have wished you would have made that trip 10 years earlier. I guarantee you that. So it's another message. Let me see. I'm gonna have to put my glasses on, people, 'cause this thing is just too small for me. Because I know you guys are writing to me, and I can see you want me to read it. I can see now. It's because of black American women. These women are angry and hostile towards random black men for no good reason. No one knows why they're so unhappy. Okay, now that's a show for itself. But I want to touch on that, William. Okay, because I'm a victim of that. Seriously, now when I had my relationship with my woman and I had this issue, and I asked her why did she do all these incriminable things to me, and she was saying because you were seeing you because you uh, some girl named Rochelle or something. Okay, uh, I was black conscious when we met. All our kids have African names, and I told her that the one thing I told her when we first got together was that look, at one point or another in a relationship, I'm gonna see another woman, or I may get with another woman. So I'm telling you now. So don't use that as an excuse. But eventually, that's what she did. She just said, "Okay, I saw you with the other woman." She didn't, and that was the case. So she said, "Because I saw you with the other woman, and because you had sex with this other woman, I'm going to destroy our family, take your kids from you because you had sex with this other woman, put the police on you, and do all these other things. Call the jaw." So that's the reason why you do all this thing. It's like she could just sit and plot on all the different ways she was going to, get at me. And I'm like, I'm kind of like, okay, fine. If this is what you wanted to do, we can separate. But she said, "Oh no, I want you to hang around so I can do more things." I'm like, "I can't trust you." So I explained to her, asking her, "Okay, what can we do? Sit down. Let's decide what we're gonna do. What's the real problem? Okay, well, I mean, there comes a point when you can't stay with someone like that." And I really tried, being black conscious, I really wanted the relationship to work. I was willing to bend over backwards, but I was with somebody that was not for that. You know what I mean? And that's obvious because today I have a family, and she doesn't. She never did reunite with another guy to have a family. You know, she just joined the party life. So that's what I'm saying. Uh, the environment that we live in is not conducive to family. If you're living in the United States, and that goes for your woman too. Because one of the problems with my woman was she loved to watch television and loved to watch those shows that were bashing black men, and you could just see her get all giddy or watching these shows. And I was like, why can't you watch something that's decent, like family orientated? She refused. So there was a time I was standing behind her. She was with the remote. She was going through the table channels, and there was some nice shows on about family structures, good things, wholesome movies that kids and everybody can watch. But she refused them. And then she got to one where there was a man bashing a bunch of brothers, and she just sat there and just was laughing and having a great time. So you see, that thing was instilled in her, and her girlfriends that she had, which many of them she wouldn't even introduce me to, were another part of a terrible situation. So I wanted this thing to talk about, I wanted to get on here and talk about why blacks are disappearing. And what Williams has said is really just brought up some more important points to me. I don't want to really take this video into too much longer, but please, if you guys don't mind, send some support. You know what I mean? Send M-Pesa some little money. Let me see. I think I got a message here. I don't know if it's a support or what. Let's see. Uh, Richard. Richard has sent uh, eight, 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 eight ball. I appreciate it. You see, if you African super chat, we can get it. We can see it right now, and it can be shown on the show. So, Richard, thank you for that. So, just you guys, you know, some of my old friends are saying you're seeing the video, you're not seeing it live. You're seeing it after the fact. Don't let that deter you. Take a look at the subscription. It's just that easy. Go to Western Union. I know you have to pay a little bit more, for a little fee for it, but it's, you know, it's not like a lot of money if you really look at it. How many times are you going to send support? So don't let yourself talk yourself out of it. If you enjoy this channel, let's keep it going so that I can continue to give you this type of information. So I want to see Richard. This is not the first time. I think this is the second time he's been giving us support. I want to see someone new give out some support. Put that $10 in there and send it right on through here. And I'm going to be sure to comment to you on the next show, and we keep this thing rolling. So many of you guys see when you send money, you'll see Evelyn. This is Evelyn here. She's always busy. Now she's on her phone. Let's see. There she is. Yeah. Now she's mad at me for putting her on the camera, and she's nervous now. I know her like a book. And oh yeah, that foot. Okay. So uh, yeah, I want to make this channel grow. If you go put to look at the video, you'll see we do some business on video on business. We also do videos on family, and we want to keep this going. Because if you're gonna make the trip to Africa, not today, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 5 years from now, maybe next year. Some of you are saying I'm coming tomorrow. It's okay, but once you come, you need to have that support on the ground. And I believe that I can save you a lot of money and a lot of wasted time by giving you advice based on actually being here and living here. Also, I can give you, like I did with my brother James, he asked a lot of advice about banking in the system here, and he moved from Tanzania to Kenya. Nowadays, I don't hear from him as much because the guy settled in, and you know, you just come in and just and you know that's that's the case. So I want to end this video, you guys. Let me get this last questions in, comments in. I really appreciate comments, guys. Peace, Elder, and pronounce Hajua. Hajua was it? I don't know if they talk to Swahili. ADO Smith. What's up, brother? Listen, if this ADOS thing doesn't work out for you, no, no problem. You know what I mean? No worries. Get an African plan to go right along with your search for reparations, bro. We're together. You're my brother. So you can have both. That's why I wanted to say I hear these people saying reparations, bro. We're together. You're my brother. So you can have both. That's why I wanted to say I hear these people saying you yes or no, and I do say that it's not possible, but enabled it didn't work. The environment is not conducive for blacks in America. Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's not conducive, and to save yourself a lot of heartache and stress, start preparing that African plan because we're reducing in numbers, and that is that just tells the story. As we reduce in numbers, uh, we're gonna have to do something. Okay, and if the recession comes and hit, we're gonna have to do something. And I say that I can show you how moving to Africa is going to benefit you far better than if you stay in America. Because it's only a matter of getting to work. Kenya is now an oil producing, oil exporting country. Going to be a very bright future in this area. It's already been a major hub of business in the East African area, and now Swahili is being spoken by another 16 countries have adopted Swahili for their national language. So it's all good. Now they don't speak Swahili in Ghana, and so they speak a small language that nobody else uses outside of Ghana. But in Swahili, when you learn Swahili here, you can span all through Ethiopia now, South Sudan, Tanzania, of course, is far bigger than Kenya, Uganda, even DR Congo. So the future looks bright. Now I'm saying you might not ever learn Swahili. Like me, my Swahili is pretty poor, but your children will be having that much space to go out and communicate with people through different countries. So I want to say peace, you guys. Thank you for listening to me. Do the African super chat today, and maybe when we grow longer with the game, we can figure out a better way. But without your support, and I think you learn Swahili now. Habari gani? Yes. Let me see how I can say that. Ufuraha kukutana newewe. Okay, so welcome to the channel and karibu. So we're gonna do a show on Swahili, and then we're gonna go from there. Nzuri. Okay, thank you. Good brother. You saying Zuri Baba, that's good. Yeah. Baba is a term for respect. And so I get that all the time. And I really appreciate it every time I hear it. Now you think that people gonna call me Baba and say in the US? No, I'd be standing on the train right next to two young boys and they wouldn't even think about giving me their chair. You see, but then I respect it. And that's one of the reasons why I could never leave this place. I would be fearing how they're gonna treat me there. Oh, you old guy, go back to this old folks' home. To you too, bro. Uh, and then thank you guys for the likes, and let us meet. Let's try again tomorrow. I'll be at the lab, and I feel more comfortable there. So, in other words, let me see if this woman of mine is gonna say anything. Eva, say hi. Okay. Yeah. Then now you guys finally get to meet her. So we're gonna do a show with her too. But I know I have to get her prepared. I can't just jump up and say, "Guess what? You're on TV." No, video. So let's do that the next time. Until we meet again, brothers. Peace.